Hi, welcome back to another video. So as you would have seen from the title, the thumbnail and the intro, this is going to be my Christmas vlog. Okay, so this is like the only Christmas themed video I will be doing, wherein I will be trying to read Christmas romances and watching Christmas films. Not sure how I'm gonna celebrate Christmas. I bought a few things for my family. Maybe I'll include a little snippet of that when it comes, but the gist is mainly the Christmas romance books. So my TBR has currently confirmed 2 books. The third one I will leave it up to me as I go along. But the first book is A Bookshop Christmas by Rachel Burton, which I have already started and am actually quite close to finishing. I am at page 206 out of 307, so just about 100 pages left. So this story is about Megan Taylor, her family has a bookshop. Because of something that happened, basically she became a widow, so she moved back to her family's bookshop and is helping to run it. Basically it was kind of like a fresh start for her, and then it was also like a way for her to retreat from the world for a while. And then that changes when Xander Stone, who is a prize-winning author, agrees to have the launch of his 3rd book, the launch party at the bookstore. The story progresses from there. They didn't exactly have the best first encounter because he rammed his trolley into her legs at a supermarket and he was quite rude about it. He was like, "You're still not getting out of my way." And then Megan was like, "You still haven't said sorry." And then that was like the first encounter, you know. But from there they start to develop their relationship. You can feel the Christmassy vibes because it is Christmas at the time of their story, and they're talking about how, oh, let's have this Christmas party, let's have all these, like, I don't know, mince pies or things like that. But I can't say that I'm really enjoying the story. It feels very normal, like very meh, very forgettable. Like, this is the first time I read a romance book, right? And then I really felt like this is very formulaic because I don't see the chemistry between Xander and Megan. And then they're like developing feelings for each other and be like, "Oh, haha, our first encounter, who knew we would have come to this point?" And then I'm just like, okay. There aren't a lot of unique plot points, I would say. There was perhaps one that I read about and then I was like, oh, okay, that's quite interesting. But apart from that, it feels like a story that I've read before multiple times. So I don't think I will give this a very high rating, but it's just like a good quick read if you need something to get through, you know. So I will come back and update again once I'm done, and then after that I will review what's my 2nd book. So keep you in suspense for a little longer. Hi, I'm back with an update, but before I actually give you my update, the cup is back! I didn't actually fill it up to the top, so it's not fully changed colour, but I also used this mug last Christmas, so I'll link it up above for you. But yeah, I just added hot water to the hot cocoa mix. Okay, I haven't bought marshmallows, but maybe it will be used again. So I actually finished A Bookshop Christmas by Rachel Burton. If I remember correctly, there really weren't much trigger warnings for this book. In the end, I decided to give it 2.5 stars because nothing changed from whatever I said in the previous clip. So it just feels like a very meh book. Yeah, like the romance wasn't really like grabbing my attention. The bookshop was also like meh, and then the 3rd act conflict was like super out of nowhere, and then the reactions to the conflict were also really like childish in my opinion. Yeah, so if you haven't read a lot of romance books, then I guess this would be okay for you. But if you have already read a lot of different romances, maybe even Christmas romances, this might not be the best to pick up because it will just be very mediocre in my opinion. So yeah, I decided to give it 2.5 stars, and that's all from me. I have yet to start my 2nd read, which is The Family You Make by Jill Shelvis. So this one was actually, I saw Steph Loves recommending this a few months ago, and then I was like, okay, this is like a good Christmas read according to her, so I will put it on my to read. And now that it's finally the time, I decided to borrow it at the library as well. So this story, during the snowstorm of the century, Levi Cutler is stranded on a ski lift with a beautiful stranger named Jane. When the gondola in front of them hurtles to the ground, Levi calls his parents but can't bring himself to say goodbye. Instead, he impulsively reveals that he's happily settled and Jane is his girlfriend right before his phone dies. But Levi and Jane do not. Now Levi's family is desperate to meet the one. Jane agrees to be his pretend girlfriend for just one dinner, but a traumatic childhood has left her unsure how to act around a tight-knit family that cherishes one another. As Jane and Levi spend more time together, pretend feelings quickly turn into real ones. Now all Jane has to do is admit to herself that she can't live without the man she's fallen in love with and the family she has always dreamed of. So I will update once I start reading this in the next clip. Hi! So I am back to update this Christmas video. Non-Christmas related, but I have my Starbucks here. Oh wait, is it a bit like Christmas themed? Maybe. So I finished 2 books. So I am not sure whether I will have time to finish any more. So this might be the ending. If not, we shall see how. I think I mentioned that I was reading The Family You Make. And then I was still going through that book. But after that, I wanted a little change. So I also picked up another book, which is a novella. And I finished the novella first. But for the sake of convenience, I'm just gonna go through The Family You Make first, then I'll talk about the novella that I finished. For The Family You Make, let's go through trigger warnings first. Trigger warnings for abandonment, sexual content, grief, cancer, rape, and sexual assault. I wasn't really feeling like the chemistry between the characters. I feel like it's more of a chick lit than an adult romance, because this one has like, it deals with each character's backstories also, like with their families and things like that. So especially Jane, because she has a complicated family history and then things to do with like a rift with her grandfather that she eventually has to confront in the story. So there was that. And then also, it's not just the 2 main characters' romance, there's also the, you know how in K-dramas there are second lead romances, in the book there is also one. So there's also that. I was actually a bit like in the middle about how they were like trying to get to know each other. I feel like their chemistry could be better, or maybe because it's like the same fake dating trope repeated over and over, and then especially it's like a chick lit setting. I didn't particularly feel the, oh, they're so cute, I need them to like faster get through this slow burn angst. I was just fine with whatever was happening. And then okay lah, like when they eventually got together, I was like, okay, this is technically quite cute. But what surprised me more was the second lead romance, because theirs was really like a slow burn, and then there is like a reason as to why Charlotte keeps rejecting Mateo's advances, and eventually they work through it. And then Mateo is such a green flag, and like a particular scene towards the end involving like a sleeping bag was so cute. Oh my god, it made me feel like, oh my gosh, like, do such men even exist? So yeah, I was like very happy for them in that scene and the conclusion afterwards. So overall, I feel like they saved the book for me, and eventually I gave it 3.25 stars. So I feel like it's an okay read. If you like feel-good fiction, which is what was listed on the cover, then I think this book would be for you. But personally for me, when I read Christmas romances, I need a bit more spark. Also, this was like a very, it wasn't that steamy. It was like an okay, I would say almost family friendly kind of book. So yeah, so that was that book. And then moving on to the novella that I finished, I started reading today and I finished today. It was The Boss Who Stole Christmas by Jana Aston. And this one is like really short, but I felt like the story was very complete. So what this story is about is that Holly Winter is working in a toy making company, if I remember correctly, and her boss is Nick St. Croix, and to her she's like a Scrooge because he's always very like snarky and like, I don't know, give me the reports, I need them now, that kind of thing. But she also acknowledges that he's very good looking. It's kind of like a hate to love, except that eventually we will realize that it's not exactly hate, you know. So what happens is there was like a meeting, and then Holly was talking about her plans for this new storefront or something like that, and then Nick was like, do we have like a space for takeout so that we can resolve this problem of limited seating? And then she was like, we haven't really considered that, but that's something we can look into. And then Nick was like, okay, you are going with me on a business trip to Germany so that we can learn from the country that inspired this organization, and the fact that their town is a really small town. It's called Reindeer Falls. Many of the traditions there are inspired by a particular town in Germany. So he brings Holly along, much to her dismay. She created an advent calendar to reward herself every time she has to deal with him. So she had to create more boxes because she wasn't supposed to go on the trip, but then now she's going, so she'll be seeing more of him. On the trip, like, things happen and then it gets really cute. I really felt the Christmas vibe from this because Germany has like Christmas markets and things like that, right? Working in that company, both of them really like the purpose of it, of like bringing joy to children through Christmas and like their toys and things like that. Holly is just like a person that loves Christmas. I mean, she's influenced by her family because her mom literally named her middle name as Mistletoe. But yeah, it's very Christmassy and it felt so complete and nice, heartwarming. Oh, I loved it. For a novella, it was really, really good. So I decided to give it 4.5 stars. Like, oh my gosh, I was feeling so mad about the books that I've been reading, right, for this video. I mean, The Family You Make managed to save itself towards the end, but at the start and the middle, I was like, oh my god, what is this? But this book, like, from the start to the end, like the 7-8 pages that I read, it was so good, and I didn't feel like it was too short. I didn't feel like it was too long. The story felt very complete, and the writing was also really good, which I'm so surprised by. I don't know why I was surprised. I guess I wasn't expecting much based on the books that I've been reading. And like, this book was something that I just randomly decided to pick up. Like, I saw it on a Goodreads list and I was like, okay, let me try it, and it was so good. So yeah, I decided to give it 4.5 stars, and I'm not sure whether there will be another section after this, but I wanted to say that I haven't found any like good Christmas movies to watch also, so like that's something I'm trying to find as well. But I would like to say that I was asking for recommendations on my Bookstagram on like good Christmas books. Ashley Gabrielle Aguirre, I'm so sorry, she recommended Wreck the Halls for romance and The Hunting Party for a thriller. So I decided to pick up Wreck the Halls, which I haven't read at all, but I just borrowed the audiobook. So maybe I'll update. I would like to get this up by Christmas. I have 2 days. So yeah, I'll try my best to finish this book and then close out the video. Not sure if I'll get to a Christmas movie, but if I do, I'll update you as well. So yeah, many Christmas things happening. I also wanted to show, right? My friend and I went to get free jaguar tattoos. It's like fading already, but I got a Christmas tree. Yeah, I'll put up the picture of when it was like first inked. Christmas vibes. Hi! Okay, I managed to finish Wreck the Hall, so I'm finally here to update you with my review and close out this video. I was really surprised at the fact that I could finish Wreck the Hall so quickly, but I think it was also because of a particular reason that I will explain later. Let's start with trigger warnings first. Trigger warnings for sexual content, cursing, abandonment, infidelity, alcohol, body shaming, pregnancy, and drug use. So this story is about our two main characters who have the silliest names that I've ever read about in a romance novel. The guy is called Beat and the girl is called Melody. Oh my god. Okay, so the story behind this, right, is that they are the offspring of this duo band called, I can't remember the name, something Steelbirds maybe. And because of something that happened, the band, I guess the duo, which consisted of two females, right, they split up and then the band disbanded. So the offspring were also constantly in the limelight because it's like you are the child of a celebrity, right? What happens is, I think 14 years later, we get to know that Pete is getting blackmailed by somebody on some secret that if let out, it will tarnish his mother's reputation. So he has been consistently paying off the blackmailer to silence him. But this time he's asking for like $800,000, which he obviously doesn't have because of the amount of times he has silenced the blackmailer. So it just so happens that I think something went viral and then people are starting to pay attention to, I will call them Steelbirds. I think it's Steelbirds again. This producer caught wind of it, so she contacted Beat and Melody in the hopes of like getting them to coerce their mothers into doing a reunion, and in doing so the three of them will get $1 million each. So Beat is interested. Originally he wasn't, but because of the money he became interested. But his condition was Melody has to be okay with it, if not he wouldn't proceed, because he was also aware that 14 years ago when they were like 16, Melody was kind of criticized more harshly in the public eye compared to Beat, so she suffered quite a lot, especially as like a teenager, right? So there was the elements, but eventually they decided to proceed, and I think it's like a reality show or something like that. And then it's just the whole process of them like developing feelings for each other, rekindling their feelings. Oh my god, this book is super steamy, like the steamiest book I've ever read. I feel like it beats like all the historical romances. The amount of times they were going at it in this book is like, wow, okay. I think I managed to finish quite quickly was because I really didn't care about the whole reunion plot point. Like, I don't think I care much about celebrities in general, and especially it's like you are the child of the celebrity. I'm not. Yeah, so I didn't really care much for the plot point, so I was like kind of skimming quite a lot when it was concerning that. But when it was about the two main characters, like their romance and things like that, then I would read more in depth. I feel like their romance with one another is deeply driven by lust and like attraction at first sight, or kind of like circumstances, right? Because they are both the children of the people who were in the band. So I thought it was like, okay, it's fine. I wasn't like particularly shipping them because they were already like so drawn to each other. There's nothing much for me to do except just watch how the story progresses. So in the end, I decided to give this 2.5 stars because I feel like it's an okay book. Super steamy. Plot points I didn't really care for. Romance, it was fine, like nothing really special. So I decided to stop at 2.5 stars. Sadly, because this was recommended to me by my Bookstagram friend, right? But it's okay, people have different preferences, and I'm glad that even though this book didn't work for me, it worked for her, because that shows how diverse reading experiences can be, right? So yeah, there was that. Kind of ending on a meh note, but at least we found one good Christmas romance, which is like a novella actually. Better luck next year. So yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Can't believe it's like 2024 soon. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel to see more of such content. If you're still watching, please comment a Christmas tree emoji for Christmas. If you have any good Christmas romance books or films you would recommend, please leave them in the comments for me to maybe watch on Christmas Day or save for next year. And then I hope you're having a great day or a great week whenever or wherever you're watching. Remember to stay hydrated, and I'll see you in my next video.
And sometimes, just for a moment, and especially on Christmas Eve, that's exactly what we need. So, this ain't in the presents. I can't believe that it's